When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching The Meta Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, space fans from across New Eden, welcome to The Meta Show. I am Brisc Rubal. I am joined alongside Mittani and our favorite, the initiative leader, Sweaty Shines, a.k.a. Fart Shines, a.k.a. Dark Shines. He is here on camera for your viewing pleasure. We are back from vacation. We are back from spring break, and we are ready to mess up some pappies who ran away. Hi,
Again.
boss.
Hi. Hello, hello. I'm joining everyone here from what used to be an undisclosed location. It is now, this is a red shirt lake house edition. It's sort of a sweatshirt. It's very appropriate for the environment I'm in. And I'm happy to be able to give you guys a proper office view back where I was before. Didn't really have nearly a nice enough sort of office look compared to Brisc. So happy to be here. Delighted to have, you know, if you're an alliance leader in EVE Online, one of the most nightmarish things about a move is, oh God, I hope the internet is going to hold up. And I'm delighted to say that it has. We've got high speed everything. All systems are green. And there we go. So it's great. I'm really happy. We have some great news, which is that PAPI decided to PAPI again in the last week or so before the show, which means we have something to talk about other than the fact that CCP still hasn't fixed capital ship production. And so we're gonna get some shit talking piss pee out of the way. There's been a lot of action. Just saw 1,100 people on Goonswarm Mumble as we were sticking it to the pubs, and that is excellent. So we're going to go into that. We have Dark Shines with us today. We're going to be talking about the whole Faith Abolist campaign, which you may have heard of from Test Alliance Please Ignore posting propaganda from Outer Passage about keeping the faith, and it's working about as well as everything else that Test has affixed their name to. So yeah, we've got lots of action. We've been out for weeks, and we have a checklist of shit that we are going to talk. So Brisc, why don't you take us away?
Let's hit it. All right, we're going to go into our top story, which is Pappy's gonna Pappy again. So as you know, we have Dark Shines with us today. The main reason we have Dark Shines with us today is the action that has happened in the last couple of weeks in EVE Online has been based around an init deployment, right? So init deploys south, starts a fight, wins the fight, goes back up, and then the fight starts off again. Shines, can you tell us a little bit about this Faith Abolist deployment, what's going on, why we're down here, and what's happening right now?
Yeah, so obviously the Goonswarm SIG deployed down here a couple of weeks ago. Jeff. They came down to Esoteria to basically push back, as far as I understand, to push back on Fire and Horde and Test, who were starting to push in on top of Esoteria, on top of Red Alliance space.
The module has run out of charges.
And we, in it, formed our own SIG, because we didn't have one before. Instead of bringing the whole alliance down, we formed a SIG and deployed down alongside them. Now, since then, we've actually ended up, it's escalated quite a bit over the last few days. So we've started moving heavier assets into the area again, along with the kind of the rest of our alliance. So it's at the moment, it's Imperium pushing a little bit into Fatalis to see what we see, I guess.
So the last week or so has seen some kind of crazy stuff, and I'll walk you guys through some of the stuff that we've seen. So again, you've got Fire down here doing their thing. They've been talking a mad amount of shit. Shines, do you want to talk about a little bit of the shit talking that's been going on? Because it's kind of surprising coming from a group like this that they'd be coming after you, like, personally so hard.
I mean, so this isn't the first time to do it. This is Constantine, who is the leader of XIX, and as such the leader of Fire. This is his go-to move. When you start failing, attack the personalities, right? So when we seen it during the war, when Init would deploy to Curse and the different surrounding areas, and we would tussle with Fire, he got quite personal back then. He has since gotten quite personal again. Sweaty Shines, obviously, the name's coming out. I actually quite like that one. Better than Far Shines anyway. And so, but I mean, it's not just me. I mean, he's called out Mittens as well. He's called out Init as an alliance. Look, the reality is we took a lot of shit from a lot of people over the last year, 2 years, as a coalition. Init lost all of our space, lost all of our income, kind of traveled around Eve during the war. And one of the groups that we kind of clashed with quite a lot outside of Delve was Fire. They would come in, they'd ref our structures, they would call in PAPI, then PAPI would come and finish them off. All this stuff while rigorously chest beating about how great they were. And then kind of after the war ended, we got set back up in Fountain again. I kind of always wanted to go after Fire again. To go after Fire properly once we had kind of regained a bit of our strength, which we have done. So we deployed down to Esoteria in January to stop Horde, Test, and Fire pushing on Impasse and pushing on Red Alliance. And we got Red Alliance and Red Menace coalition set up in Esoteria under, I guess you call it, our umbrella. We dropped a Keepstar there. We had our supers there. And Red Alliance got set up in Esoteria, basically. And we had a couple of good fights against Fire and the rest of PAPI in Fatalis while we were down in ESO. But that we kind of called a stop to it in February when we had gotten as much as we were going to get without going full-scale war mode again. But it was nice to deploy against Fire to cause them some hassle, to get a bit of payback for what had happened during the war. Now, since then, Fire, Horde, Test, those guys have pushed in on Esoteria a bit. They've caused RMC some trouble. So we're back here again, basically, and now we're pushing back. We're pushing back a lot harder this time, I guess.
Now, what I think is funny, the funniest part is that this Init and Jeff deployment, and it's not even all of the initiative, it's really just our PvP SIG, as well as the Jeff, the Goons Expeditionary Force that came out of Delve. And they're here because we're like 7 jumps away from 1DQ. It's easy to get to. So you've got the Jeff, you've got Init down here deployed just with SIGs and squads versus all of Fire. And then they, of course, have to call in PAPI. And I thought the funniest part of this whole thing has been all of these keep the faith type memes that the test guys keep throwing out. But when the test guys show up, there's like 20 of them, and they desperately need like 500 hordes. So that's why I made this meme to mock them with "she's keeping the faith. That horde is coming. Oh God, please let horde be coming," because that's what PAPI does. You know, they're desperate. Like the test guys, honestly, of all of the groups that are currently in this fight, whether it's Fire, whether it's PAPI, whether it's Test, has the least ability to shit talk because they're forming up the fewest people. In fact, if you look at the form up yesterday, and unfortunately I don't have that D-scan anymore, but if I did, I pointed this out at the time and I will point it out now. There were more guys from Karma Fleet, the largest of the corporations inside Goons Form, more guys from Karma Fleet than Test, a 9,000 plus person alliance or character alliance could bring. It was kind of embarrassing, just saying, especially for you guys to be putting out all of this crazy propaganda. Now, boss, I'm sure you'd love to see this. What did we do on Wednesday?
Oh boy, let's see. Was Wednesday when we decided to crash 70 dreads into a tree?
That's what happened. That's what we did.
Oh gosh, yeah. We did. Yeah, there was a big fight, and this was an interesting one. So this was like the first time I got to test the Lake House battle station. We had just gotten the internet properly rigged and deployed the desk in the fully upright position, and basically what happened was we decided to pick a fight on top of a wood chipper, right? Like we escalated with dreads on top of an anti-capital Fortizar, and that's very hard to extract from, especially at close range, because your enemies can essentially spam as many dictors as it's required to hold your shit there. So essentially everything that we put on the field, capital-wise, was at risk of going boom. This was generally speaking considered to be a bad idea, but a lot of PAPIs did end up getting killed. And then the second half of this fight was essentially what I'd call a subcap cleanup, right? So once you've already crashed 70 dreads into a tree, you can pretty much mulch as many subcaps as you want because it's kind of a de minimis expense. And we clawed back and we won the strategic objective, despite the cost of it. I know this is going to be crazy. If we happen to have any people who are PAPI that have tuned in, there are two things in a fight in EVE Online. One is the ISK war, and the other is the strategic objective. I saw a confused broadcast from some guy in Horde going like, "Oh, you know, this is Mittens is talking about a strategic objective." But actually, there's always an ISK war and a strategic objective if you are fighting over something that matters. And of course, we paid the blood price and won the strategic objective, which was to knock this thing that we just murdered into armor and then into hull. Actually, no, it was an armor timer. We knocked it into hull, blah, blah, blah. And then we just turned up and killed it. But yeah, we...
Thank you to our lovely audience for providing me with the D-scan. There it is. Boom.
Yeah. So regardless, I don't even know what I'm leaking. The Edge is already on my ass about leaking stuff. I'm not sure exactly what I'm leaking yet. I'm sure that I will end up leaking important strategic information over the course of this show. But, you know, it was kind of a, you know, it's always interesting like that because you have to allow people in your organization to take risks and take mistakes and learn from it. And instead of going, "Oh my God, we lost 620 billion ISK of stuff, let's run for the hills like bitches," we didn't. We persevered. We got the objective nailed, and then we came back today and we did it again. We came back yesterday to online a siege fort to do this thing properly, and I assume we're going to be talking shit about that next. Is that next on the agenda of shit talk? That
will be the next on the agenda of shit talk. I just want to keep talking about this fight for a little bit. So
let's go for it.
The funny thing about this fight. So first of all, as is often the case when it comes to random dread bombs or random like Trillion-esque fights that at least happen in EVE Online, there was no reason for this fight to happen. There was no reason for it. This was a straight up normal boring armor timer on a random Fortizar in Esoteria. It's got some tactical value. The bad guys were staging off of this fort, and it was nice to have it there, but it didn't have to happen. So I give credit, and I know some people may say that this is not credit because, oh, well, look at the battle report. They lost, you know, almost double what the bad guys lost. We like to do this. We throw our ships at problems because that's the part of the game that's fun. So Mike Flood and Blurkus and Dave Archer and all the guys that were out there. I don't even know if Mike was there. Maybe I'm just thinking wrong.
Mike wasn't there. It started with it was like a Blurkus and Dave Archer
and Dave,
thing.
right?
Everybody was starting. Basically, it was a relatively early timer, right? So a lot of people weren't around, and then as things went over the course of the day, more people were like, "Oh, we're having a big fuckfest tie-dye fight. All right, let's see what that's like."
So I was just excited because it was the first time that I can recall hearing, "Go ahead and insure your dreads and undock" in a long time. And I was just so excited. And I lost 2 dreads in that fight, which was fine, including that Naglfar that I showed you on the screen here a couple minutes ago. That nag was 6 years old. I had suitcased that thing from Penal to Faith and back and all over the place. And I was very pleased that it finally died because I'd rather have a revelation anyway, which I did, which is nice. So, hi, Dave Archer. Yes, we talked about you for a minute. But the whole point is, this was a type of fight that the bad guys never would have done that. And I think it's one of the reasons why I like being in the Imperium, why I feel like I like having guys like Shines and Mittens and Blurkus and Dave and those guys that are out there, because they saw the opportunity to escalate and they didn't hesitate, and they took the fight, even though knowing that our numbers were probably about even and maybe even like we would be in trouble. And frankly, you know, they were able to bring almost even numbers, but they had the cap advantage, and they were sitting on a structure with tether and we were not. So the fact that we took that fight, I'm proud of you guys for doing that. And I don't care that we lost 670 billion because you know what? We've got it. What the hell's the point of having wealth in this game if you're not going to use the shit?
We don't dock our fucking faction toys. And so shout out for the dude with the vehement. Again,
seriously.
Like, that's how we roll. Like we get out there, we fight. Sometimes if you fight, you get kicked really hard in the nuts and it sucks, but that's literally the game. Which is something that I think we maybe need to send an engraved memo to dear old Constantine, whoever the fuck that little bitch is, because, you know, we showed him how it was done, right? We can mash 1,600 people into each other for hours and hours and have fun with it. I guess the total number of people that ended up getting involved in that fight was north of like 2,000. But the next couple days we come by, we drop a siege fort to, do this one properly and get ready for today's kill op. And it was hilarious, right? Like, we turned up with bells on, ready to go. I told everybody in advance in a ping, we are here to fuck, right? So that puts the entire galaxy on notice that the Imperium is ready to have another massive capital fight, right? Like, we're going to go balls to the wall, bring it. And, it's almost, there's so little to talk about here, because essentially what happened was PAPI got together like they do, started trying to mess with our onlining fort, and then proceeded to just realize that they might lose more than 10 billion ISK trying. Now, look, we hit that thing into reinforced and we ate 620 billion ISK plus worth of shit to do it. And these just, what was it? Just a gaggle of ambulatory excuses that makes up what they call leadership in PISP, got scared at the idea of losing more than 10, 15 billion ISK. And they executed one of the maneuvers that they have the most practice with, as we learned in the Vietnam War, was, of course, the coordinated fleeing for the hills. So after they realized that it wouldn't be, I don't know, whatever the hell they expected it to be, they just got together like the bitches that they are and ran from us, at which point we got some hilarious pings from dear old Constantine, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know if you have any of those, Brisc.
Yeah, let me pull them up here. I mean, it's just, while I'm pulling these up, let me just reiterate, okay? Yeah. This doesn't make an ounce of fucking sense. And I want to ask Shines this while we go look at this, because I wanted. So Shines, can you tell me, why the fuck did they quit? They're like, literally, we're on grid. They have fighters, we have fighters. They have carriers, we have carriers. They have fleets, we have fleets. We're killing eagles. We couldn't even break stuff at the beginning of the fight, if I recall correctly. It was like we were trying to kill Logi and we couldn't kill anything. And we finally started popping eagles. Why would they leave? What possible rationale can you come up with, because you're smarter than me, for these guys running in the middle of a fight that they would have won if they just stuck around? I mean, what's the deal?
There is no logical reason. These these guys don't have. I just don't think they have they didn't, probably much like the war, they didn't have somebody at the top just saying, right, we're doing this. Like, you know, when we took that fight on Wednesday, like a couple of us were sitting in a channel and we could see, right, well, the cap fight hasn't gone to plan, but we're putting this Fortizar into ref one way or the other. It's happening. So let's make it happen. All right. That's a message from the top down. And then FCs and fleet members and recons and lodges and all these guys, they can do their job then when they know exactly what they have to do. I don't think these guys have that at all. What you probably have is, I mean, they had 4 hack fleets plus on grid, I think. You probably have a minimum of 4 FCs trying to decide, you know, what's the best course of action here. And then they're probably second guessing themselves because one person said something a bit different to what another person was thinking. And then suddenly they're not sure of themselves.
It was a group decision.
A group failure more than a group decision. But like there was no reason for them to warp off. We had 2 battleship fleets on grid. We had 1 smaller hack fleet on grid. Red Menace came in with a smaller hack fleet as well. We dropped our own carriers. They were in Eagles. They had 2, maybe 3 Eagle fleets, Munich fleets. You know, they could have easily killed the Fortizar. I mean, they already got it down to, was 70, 80% hull. I mean, it was an anchoring Fortizar. It wasn't an online Fortizar. There was no PDS. There was no weapons. There was no webs. There was no nuke bursts. The only thing defending the Fortizar was the battleship fleets. You know, we took the risk. I be honest, I wasn't super confident putting the carrier fleets on the Fortizar because there was a very good chance the Fortizar would die, you know, but we done it anyway. And it worked out. They got scared. They just, well, I mean, I don't know if they got scared, but I guess they just keep second guessing themselves.
They ran away.
Yeah,
why
okay,
else would
obviously they got scared. Yeah, sure. But like it just, I mean, we were talking about it. We seen them warp off, and we're like, okay, they're going to warp off. They're going to reposition. They're going to, you know, maybe come in slightly under the Fortizar or something and shoot it from there. We're going to have to get ready to reposition. Yeah, and then suddenly all the carriers start pulling fighters. Now there is no reason for their carriers to pull fighters. Their carriers were on their other Fortizar, the one that had not been refed at all. They had 60, 70 carriers protecting their hack fleets. There was no reason at all for them to pull fighters, but suddenly carriers start pulling fighters, and that was the, you know, the telltale sign of, right, these guys are looking to get out.
It was amazing. And as a line member sitting in the fleet, and we start watching these guys warp off, and I'm like, did that just happen? Are they passing? And then, of course, I was listening to my one in the background, so he starts playing the pass song, Neolithicus's pass song, and I'm laughing because I'm like, they can't possibly be passing. We shouldn't say they're passing because they're not gonna. There's no way. I mean, yes, Mr. V was there. Mr. V was typing. Maybe they got scared, but I was like, I couldn't believe it, and it made 0 sense, and it still makes no sense. And I wish I had been a fly on the wall in Horde comms or in, you know, test comms when they make the call to leave while they're winning, and we're still sitting there, and just to hear, I'm sure it would have been as bad as we didn't win shit as at the end of the war, because it was absolutely crazy. It was a ridiculous decision.
It's actually better than that. One of the fire, I think it was one of the fire FCs, as they were getting ready to warp off, said something along the lines of, "Okay, guys, this isn't happening. We're going to take the ISK war and you know, get out of here." And then, like, you open up the battle report, and they didn't get the ISK war either.
That's the best part. So we look at, I mean, I'll throw this back up, and I want to show you the statistic.
I actually don't even remember what.
I think they lost 16 billion, and we lost 12 or something.
Yeah, it was just such a, like, we had just started, like the flirtation period of the engagement was almost over, and we were about to really get down to business, and they just bitched out and ran away just when the fun was getting started. It's you know, and you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, we won a 4 billion ISK war because, you know, whatever. But it just goes to show you how fearful and weak and spineless the leadership of what is still PAPI, what is still PAPI. That is one of the lines that I want to herf about here for a little bit, which is that this off revealed, again, further evidence. This has never changed. This has not changed. The only change in PAPI status has been the fact that brave newbies left PAPI and started shooting PAPI and went off on their own to be big boys and girls. And what did we see in the run up to these ops? Well, all of the old PAPIs, minus Brave, were sending pings and getting ready for possibly today's op, but we owned them so hard, these motherfuckers ended up canceling a lot of their ops for today because they just gave up like they do. But they showed their hand. They showed that they were all still coordinating, that they are all still PAPIs, and that PAPI is still fundamentally based around weakness, group decision-making, and cowardice, just abject cowardice.
So one of the guys that asked about the timeline. So look at the timeline. Mm-hmm. This is the funny part. So this eagle is the first one to die here, L4. And I remember he warped in on our blob for no reason. So we just killed him. I was laughing. But you see, beginning, we weren't killing anything for a while. They started killing Megathrons. They were killing Baltecs. They killed some Jackdaws. They got a good bomb run in on us and killed some of the Jackdaws. And we weren't killing anything. And then right around 1750, everything starts to change. And boom, we start killing a ton of their shit. Their Logi starts dying. Their Eagles start dying. Serbs start dying. Everything starts dying. And then boom, they what the fuck punt and just leave. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Now, Boss and Shines, you guys both know this, but this is for the audience. What is the number one thing any PAPI FC says after they form really big and then don't take a fight? What do they praise their guys for? What do you think they praise them for?
Oh, God. What do they praise them for? I mean, I guess turning up again. I mean, I thought you were going to ask me their long lead.
You wanted to know, you wanted to see the amazing, crazy.
Made them form.
This is the amazing, absolute crazy form. This is the ping from Konstantin Surovich, who, I understand Surovich means like harsh or whatever, but he's not that harsh. He's kind of a severe. Legendary form up, friends. Legendary form up. Congratulations, you guys formed really big to do jack shit. How great is that? Now listen, our main tasks are being fulfilled 100%. I don't know, what does that mean? Because as far as I can tell, their main tasks have been running away or losing. I'm not sure what they've done. I guess they killed some dreads. Was that a main task? I guess. The Faceabolus attack has already cost the goons 1 trillion ISK. Wrong. Not even close. And that's what I think is funny. The entire fight, the Dread Bomb fight on Wednesday, cost both sides combined 1 trillion ISK. It cost us about 666 billion, them about 333. Shines, could you repeat that number? 333? What is it?
333.
Yeah, 333. That's how many it cost us. It cost them 660. It cost us 666. Fine. Not 1 trillion ISK. This other fight, not 1 trillion ISK. All the stuff we've moved. I don't know where he's getting this trillion ISK number from. So again, as we have seen and we have told you guys over and over again on the Meta Show, PAPI leadership cannot be truthful with their own members. They have to exaggerate. They have to make things up because that's the only way they can keep getting people into fleets is by lying and convincing them that they're doing things right.
Another thing here, but just as we're jumping in and shitting on this guy, let's say it had cost 1 trillion ISK. I will absolutely set 1 trillion ISK on fire or more if it's necessary to purge a region. Now, of course, we're just doing 6 in squads. It's just the GIF deployment, whatever. But, I think that there have been a number of occasions where we have willingly stared 1 trillion of losses in the eye and then come back a day or so later and done the exact same thing, which happened multiple times during the Vietnam War, where these same chuckle fucks failed utterly despite having blued 103 alliances and got 151,000 pilots of incompetence mashed together and all blue. And they failed utterly for similar reasons because when they were dropping those keep stars in NPC Delve and we were like, fuck it, throw dreads, do whatever it takes. We approach strategic objectives with a mission-oriented focus, which is a fancy way of saying if it's got to get done, it's got to get done. And you are never going to beat the Imperium if your attitude is that you're going to cry like a little dick bitch. Constantine the Severe. I'm specifically talking to you, Constantine. We've never really done this before. I wasn't really upset of all the things you've been pinging recently, and I hope one of your bootlickers hands this to you so you can see that I'm talking shit about you in front of 1,100 people in the entire galaxy. I don't think many people even knew who the leader of Legion of Death was, and I didn't really want to give him any attention, but this is just too hilarious not to go after. You're never going to beat us if you're too shy of the 1 trillion ISK mark. If you're scared of big numbers, you have no business handling those big numbers. And what I see here is a scared little bitch who doesn't understand the enemies that he's fighting, because his next little bit here is the entire leadership of the Imperium showed absolute incompetence, and Mittani, all caps, decided to take over the management of this gang once again. The additional task is completed, which implies that I somehow stopped being in charge of Goon Swarm, and now I'm back because of this incompetent shit dick who is scared of the 1 trillion ISK number. I look forward to more flailing, weakness, lies, incompetence. I look forward to putting you on blast in front of everyone, because one of the things I love about this, I don't give a fuck about Faith Atlas. I don't give a fuck about Esoteria. We have assets out there. We're doing content stuff. We're supporting our allies. We're doing things. But what I do care about is the fact that a little bitch like Constantine the Severe, a little bitch, got away without paying the blood price for his actions in the Vietnam War. Fire, dodged so much justice, just like AOM dodged the blood price for their actions in the Vietnam War. These PAPIs, these weak, lying PAPIs, remain war criminals, and they have avoided the consequences of what they did with 103 other alliances that they blew. They blew them. They blued them. Take it whatever you want. Fuck them. They got away with it. They have not paid the blood price, and they're beginning to. I am delighted to show you how we do things in this Imperium against those that swear blood wars against us. It's your turn now, Fire. And I look forward to more pings. This is fun, Constantine the Severe. Aren't we having fun? Show me more. You're very big and scary. You've accomplished all of your objectives, and you're so proud. It's so good. You're doing so well. Show us more. Come on, engage us. You don't have to run away. You don't have to run away. You could stand and fight. Please. Please. And if not, whatever, we'll just burn everything you know and love that you happen to have anchored in space. I'll take it either way. You know, we've already paid that 1 trillion ISK price. So yeah, fuck these nerds. That's what I got.
And there goes their vaunted Fortizar that they were so excited that they were able to force a trillion ISK fight over.
Eat my entire ass, you piss pee fucks. And if you think that this makes you angry and you want to come do something about it, I suggest that you once again blew the entire fucking galaxy and bring it. You pathetic, hypocritical, cowardly, wretched pieces of shit that don't even have the balls to blow up internet spaceships in a video game where we're fighting with other internet spaceships. You didn't have the balls when you had the entire galaxy for 1.5 years in the Vietnam War, and you still haven't grown any. So,
and I'll tell you that not only
fucked.
that, and you guys were, this is all the in-game stuff. I'm going to hit the out-of-game stuff because this pisses me off more than anything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Constantine has alleged and accused Shines and the Initiative of taking advantage of the war in Ukraine to do this fight. First of all, one, how dare you? Second of all, it has nothing to do with that.
Active.
What we were doing predated all of the stuff that was happening there. And the whole idea that suddenly we're not supposed to play the game because you guys are going to try to claim out-of-game stuff that's bullshit. Sorry, no. And the fact that you even bring it up, that you would even lie and say that that was the motivation, after we have hundreds of INIT members on both sides in this conflict, including folks that are on the ground in the Ukrainian military, that we have been watching and keeping and praying and hoping for months now, that you'd even bring that up, that's shameful. And you should be ashamed for even saying it, because it's not true. And I don't appreciate it. I know Shines doesn't appreciate it. And if that means that it's going to be more fun for us to kill everything you have, that's fine. Not okay, dude. Not okay.
He a little bitch. He a little bitch. All right.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
fuck that guy. Where are we? We have so much CCP stuff to do. Are we done with the shit talking fire?
I think we're pretty much done with the shit talking fire stuff. I mean, at this point, like, it's a bit crazy the amount of stuff that we have left to go over. And we're gonna go ahead and just do our top story, or I guess this wasn't. I guess the top story was this stuff, but we're kind of at the piercing the corporate veil because we got so much CCP stuff to talk about, and we have about 20 minutes to do it in. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go ahead and hit this and get going. All right, back here. First things first, I want to congratulate. Let me throw up our good screen over here. I would like to congratulate our dear friend. Where did it go? There it is. No, it's up here. There he is. Our dear friend Suetonia. A lot of people thought that this might have been an April Fool's Day prank, but it was not. Suetonia, my CSM 13 and CSM 16 colleague, is now CCP Kestrel. No longer a member of the CSM, no longer just a player. He is now the newest member of the quality assurance team at CCP. So congratulations, Suetonia. We're happy to have you there. I don't care what anybody says about anything. The bottom line for me is I want EVE developers who play EVE Online.
I think it's a great hire. I'm delighted that 100%. They hired this guy. Like, he knows more about EVE than 99% of the player base and the developers, and it's fantastic. Like, this is cool and good. I'm delighted that they hired somebody that is as obsessively knowledgeable about EVE as Suetonia. That's good.
And that's the bottom line. Like, there's nobody else you really want out here doing stuff like this than someone like Suetonia, who plays the game constantly and who understands everything. Okay. First off, that was the first thing. So next up, look at what we have here. This happened 2 weeks ago, but I want to talk about it because I think it's important, and I want to give you guys my take on it and get Mittens and Shines if they want to poke in. So the community got upset, very upset, about the Prospector pack that CCP was putting out. We don't like it. Told them we didn't like it. 29 CSM members signed the open letter. This is probably one of the most viewed things on the EVE Online forums. It's got over 25,000 views. We got our response from CCP. We got our response. Now, what did they say? CCP Swift says, we hear your concerns. They talk about why they did it. They talk about how this is for new players. They talk about this being the new player experience and how difficult it is and all this other kind of stuff. They acknowledge that we have worries about continued escalation and that they confirm our design has remained directed toward new players. The TLDR on the response from CCP Swift is they've removed the pack from the in-store, the in-game store, the EVE Online store. They've removed the pack from Steam. They removed it from Epic. Are they going to bring it back? We don't know. They say they're going to try to find a way to make this a thing that players make. We don't know how they're going to do that yet. They haven't given us any more takes. If they're going to bring this back, it'll be with some sort of mechanic that will allow players to produce these and then give them to CCP, I guess, and CCP sells them or whatever. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. I still think it sucks, but I don't want to overshadow the fact that for those out there who said this letter was pointless, it wasn't going to do anything, those out there that said CCP is not going to back off, they're not going to change their mind, they're not going to do anything differently when it comes to monetization, I want this to be proof number one that you guys are wrong, and that if we make a big enough stink with good enough arguments that are loud enough and that are unanimous enough, which I think other than the handful, the very small handful of people who were, generally obstinate or who view everything as CCP can do no wrong, the vast majority of the veteran core player base of this game said this pack sucks. We don't like it. And the result was they pulled the pack. They're going to rework on it and everything like that. They're going to meet with the CSM every quarter. We've already had our first meeting with their monetization team. And they're going to make sure that at least they give the players an opportunity to express their views when it comes to this stuff. Now, is this 100% win? No. They're not pulling the pack forever. We know, I fully expect they're going to bring it back. Okay. But they did pull it. It's not for sale anymore. You only will see it as a contextual ad in the client if you are a new player mining who runs all the mining in PE and then starts the mining missions. So the number of people seeing this that have the opportunity to buy it, very much lower. I appreciate that. I think that's a good thing. I'm not going to say we won. I'm going to say I'm pleased that they pulled the pack. I'm not going to say thank you because I don't want to thank them until I know for sure this isn't going to happen again. And I can't say that. In addition, I just will say real quick, while we're talking about all the CCP stuff, we have giveaways going in the channel for Fat Bee merchandise. Please type !ticket, get in there, get your ticket. Life Shifter is going to be running a couple of these while we finish the show. So get a chance to get in there and get your Fat Bee merchandise. We've got a shirt, we got a performance shirt, polo, or jersey that we're going to give away. You guys can grab. So if you want some Fat Bee merchandise, get in there and !ticket in the chat. Now, Mittens, you saw this. What did you think? What's your take on this? Should we be happy that they pulled it? Should we be pissed off that it was even a thing? What's your take?
I think that what we're seeing here is the Rattati administration keeps trying things and then gets surprised when the feedback of the player base is consistently negative about the shit that they're trying. And instead of listening to the player base and working out things in an appropriate way, they continue to just try to do the same kind of crap again. And then we get to see, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't mean it. We'll do better next time. The only reason why CCP is backing off any of this stuff is because they respond to public pressure. And when I say public pressure, I mean people openly criticizing them, writing open letters, which the CSM did, and Brisc did a great job with that. That was fantastic. And if need be, being willing to take to the streets and shoot the monument in Jita, which I will remind everybody we had to do again not too long ago, especially in the era of Plexperity, where the games economy is still deeply, deeply fucked up. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. There is still a situation with CCP where instead of listening to people that actually understand how the game works, now maybe they've hired Suetonia and they can ask him things, but they have people at the company that know how the game works and that know what the player base's principles and morality is as far as the sanctity of the sandbox goes. What I'm afraid here is that we see somebody who doesn't understand and doesn't realize that the players would revolt against this, coming down from on high and ramming dumbass crap through. So I'm going to echo what Brisc said. It's a good thing that they backed off this, but if they're going to look for, a smiley face or a gold star for backing off something they shouldn't have done in the first place, they're looking for a gold star in the wrong place. Right. I think that we need to be very, very much on guard because what we're seeing here is just naked monetization attempts. And I want the company to make money. I want CCP to make money. I want them to make money in a way. There's so many options the company has to make money in ways that do not distort the sandbox, right? I mean, for God's sakes, more skins. Let every ship use every skin. I've been saying this for years. That one couple weeks where things were bugged and you could put any skin on any ship was amazing. And there's just tons of found money lying around. But instead, we're seeing crap like the Prospector pack. We're seeing the whiff of NFTs and crypto bro bullshit. And so I think that we should remain skeptical. We should remain guarded. And it is on the Rattati administration to prove good faith to the player base. Just because there's a bunch of wall of words here from Elise saying that they're going to have quarterly meetings, like just because Elise's name is there and he might have written the thing, it is a corporate statement. And this entire situation strikes me as the kind of thing that came from the highest levels of the company. right? And I think that that's where this came from. And as a result, until there is a sort of a change in the core understanding of what it is that makes EVE a wonderful game, we must be vigilant against this kind of crap, because
100%.
they're going to try again. That's what I
Chaz,
think.
what's your take on this Prospector thing? I'd be interested to hear what you have to say.
I'm more of a middle ground. Like if the pack had come out, like if Eve had 500,000 players, regularly, if all the time zones were packed, if the server was good to go, I'd probably, I'm not that big of an industrialist that I would have minded too much. However, given the past 2 years, blackout, basically driving the economy into the ground at maximum fucking speed. On Wednesday, Init lost 20 dreads. All right, it cost us 100 billion ISK just in dread SRP. That should not be the case. I mean, Init is a big alliance. We can afford it, but smaller alliances cannot. So how can you promote any kind of gameplay outside of Tech 1 frigates when the economy is so trashed? And then to have them come out and sell a ship which bypasses the economy, it was definitely not a good look. And if you wanted to be very tinfoil hatty about it, you could make the argument that they drove the economy into the ground and then decided to start selling ships because it's easier to buy it, like golden ships, right, than to do anything in game. So it's I'm glad they pulled it back. They shouldn't have put it out there in the first place, but for the love of God, fix the fucking economy, fix the game, please.
Fucking men. All right. We're going to go through a bunch of this stuff real quick now, because we've got a ton of other stuff here, and I want to at least address it, because all of this stuff, and if we had had 2 shows, we would have talked about all this stuff in detail, because a lot of this stuff is important and I want to go through it. But so next up, there is Suetonia's message. Next up, structure updates. CCP Aurora, there's a new section on the Evo forums called Feature Previews and Feedback that's designed specifically for players who want to go and get what they're saying directly in front of CCP without having to push it through 1,000 different other places on the forums, which is good, because I think they needed to do that. Because most of the time what ends up happening is people start bitching at me. And I would prefer them not bitching at me. I would prefer them bitching at CCP directly, but it still happens that I get bitched at. So this is a perfect example. CCP Aurora put out these structure updates. We have been begging on the CSM, as well as major FCs across the game, including Darkshines, for fixes to Citadel mechanics, because Citadel mechanics are the great, most pain in the ass content deniers on the face of New Eden right now, and trying to do a little bit to make them less bad is helpful. So what Aurora put out, and these are currently being tested on CC. We don't have a time. I assume it'll probably be soon that these will go live, but in the meantime, they are currently on CC. They have changed the way the PDS works. It's going to require ammunition. The ammunition is pretty big, and it's not going to be able to cycle as often as it was cycling before. They have changed the capacity of the guided bomb launcher to make the bombs a little bit less cancerous than they are now. They couldn't really mess with you, but they were just an annoyance. And this, I think, removes a little bit of the annoying factor. They've changed the stand-up missile launchers to make it a little less easy for structures to kill capital ships. They did not do anything unfortunately on the subcap side to make them a little bit stronger in dealing with subcap fleets, but they did do this to deal with all of at least to make it possible for you to use dreads and other caps on a Citadel to ref it and to kill it. And then what I am calling, what the FCs will call the anti-FC headshot maneuver, what I'm calling the anti-Brisc DD maneuver, they are making sure that the stand-up arcing Vorton projector on Keepstars, which has been known to kill me every time I'm on grid, will no longer be activatable against a subcap ship. Thank you for that, Aurora. I appreciate it. I'm not going to die as often now. Thank you. Shines, you signed Haiwantos, and I know that wasn't just Haiwantos. It was also a lot of stuff that Pando had been talking about, a lot of the FC's been talking about. You signed that letter last year some of this stuff was in that letter. What do you think about these changes? Do they go far enough? Are they too harsh on smaller scale alliances, especially for folks that are running out of Astra houses? What do you think about these changes?
No, like I think they're dipping their toe in the water. Like they've maybe gotten a bit shell shocked from some changes recently, and they're trying to dip their toe in the water to see is it safe to step back in again with changes that it's a pretty fundamental change to change stuff at Citadels. The changes, I don't have any complaints about them. The weapons and stuff on Fortizars and the bomb launchers and stuff, it was all stuff that could be changed, and it would be nice to change those. I think there are still bigger problems with Citadels, such as damage caps, not having to repair the structure and instead just wait down an inane timer. But you look, as a first set of changes, it looks good. My only hope is that they don't stop there, that there are things that come out afterwards that make some much bigger splashes to Citadels.
Absolutely. All right. Now moving on. This was another thing, and boss, you're gonna appreciate this. So in the patch notes for March 28th, they noted restoration of bounty risk modifiers of systems has begun due to a short outage, which led to some of them having drifted from their correct states. This takes place gradually over the next day. So this happened like a month and a half ago, that players figured out, you know what, the bounty risk modifier across the game doesn't seem to be working, and nothing's changing, and our numbers are staying the same no matter what we do. What's going on? And we finally had to pry it out of them that there was a problem, and they said, well, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. A month and a half later, they fix it. It's hard for me to put into words how big of a deal this was for players who are out there ratting and mining and making money and counting on being able to move around, or at least to identify which systems they're going to go rat in that day based on what the bounty risk modifier is because of this damn dynamic bounty system, which frankly, in my opinion, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the dynamic bounty system has been successful in only one aspect of what CCP put out that they wanted it to be successful in. The one aspect that it was successful in is reducing the amount of ISK entering the game. That's it. That's it. Nobody moves around. It's not more fun. It's not creating content. And it's not giving anybody any idea where to go to fight people. The bottom line is, all it is doing is depressing the amount of people who are going out and ratting in systems. And so I would like to join my colleague on the CSM Merkelchen in arguing that the DBS should be changed so that you never drop below 100% in any system, and that it only adds a bonus if there's PvP. It doesn't take away if there's not. And frankly, like the whole idea that this thing was even broken to the point that it took them 2 months to fix it, and that they didn't catch immediately that it was broken in the first place, which frankly belies the fact that every time we talk about this, what we always hear from them is, we're monitoring everything very closely. We are monitoring everything right away. It is, we're paying close attention to this. We're going to monitor all of it. And they didn't monitor anything. And it broke for a month and a half. And then they finally fixed it. Now, I'm going to shut up, but one thing before I shut up and let Mittens and Shines talk, want to announce our winner of the Fat Bee merch, Sith Lord Starkiller. X up in the chat, say hi. Congratulations. You are the big wiener today on the Meta Show. And from now on, there you go. There he said yes. Howdy. Congratulations. Perfect. Not rigged, because Life Shifter was running this, not me. Therefore, it is perfectly on the up and up. So congratulations, Sith Lord Starkiller. Now, Mittens and Shines, what do you think about this whole dynamic bounty system BRM nonsense? I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I've got a couple things on this. Yet again, this is an example of a game improving feature that we have suffered through over the last couple of years, where if one day they simply deleted everything that they had added as a feature into the game would be better. One of the biggest, the best news we got in their Road to FanFest blog was that they were going to walk back a bunch of the dumb shit that they had done over the objections of the CSM, over the objections of the player base, the classic ram it down your throat stuff we've seen from this administration at CCP. And this is yet another example of just it's Kafka-esque at this point. When CCP comes over the top and they say that they're going to do something to fix the economy or to achieve an objective, for like 2.5 years now, it has been almost the exact opposite of their stated objectives, right? It is astounding to me how cack-handed this stuff is. Shines was talking about earlier how in a situation where the economy is so screwed in this game due to the economy improving prosperity stuff that this administration has given us, that it's a joke that they were even messing with the Prospector pack. And this is sort of the same kind of deal here with this. The core aspects of the game that put people in space are not working, so less people are in space, so you see less people playing the game, there's less content, it's a hot mess. And meanwhile, this is the little rant I've had queued up for a bit now. Meanwhile, you still can barely build capital ships. You can barely build super capital ships. And before the show, I had a meeting and got some information from one of our subject matter experts who actually knows how to build some of these things. I could use you guys remember about a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, maybe longer, I don't know, it's been so long, when I was ranting about how Wyverns would cost 90 billion ISK to build. A Wyvern still costs about 80 billion ISK to build, but I want to talk today about jump freighters and freighters. And the reason I want to talk about jump freighters and freighters is that these are sort of more accessible to more players, right? You don't have to get out in nullsec. You don't necessarily have to do any kind of funky supercap stuff. And in theory, they are a core part of the EVE economy. Right now, if you want to build a freighter, you pretty much have to accept a 2 billion ISK loss just in terms of the build cost versus the thing that you can sell it for. But where things get really weird is the jump freighter aspect. Now, one of the things that CCP has done is they have added a requirement to require gas, regional or wormhole specific types of gas. I am not the expert on this. I am simply reading from my notes here, so don't hold me to account on this. Again, like I say, whenever I have to talk about economy in this game, something is deeply wrong. If it's politics, war, murder, espionage, the fun stuff, I'm all over it. I can be a subject matter expert. But if you have a point where things are so bad that I have to champion economic issues on the meta show, you've done fucked up. So how have they fucked up? You can build a capital ship in EVE Online. You can build a jump freighter. But back in the day, people used to make professions out of this. They would be a jump freighter producer, right? They would make 20 at a time. You literally could not build 20 jump freighters at a time right now. Why? Well, as it stands right now, there's enough gas on the market in JITA as of about 2 hours ago to build 2 Caldari jump freighters. You can get 2 Rheas with the gas that's available in JITA. I think there's one Finner's worth of gas. And so if you wanted to actually build capital ships at scale, if you were somehow willing to eat shit on the build cost, God forbid, if you wanted to build like 20 jump freighters, you would probably be 25 billion ISK a pop if you could even find the gas to do it. And it gets worse, ladies and gentlemen. It gets worse. And remember, instead of fixing this stuff, which we have been harping about on the meta show for so long, I've forgotten about how long it has been an issue. They're diddling around with the BRM. They're fussing about the Prospector pack. And we just had a big ass cap fight. And the only way that people can replace their losses is by hull stockpiles, which conveniently we in the Imperium prepare ahead. And so we had hull stockpiles, but it gets worse. These things require Cosmos crap. There are ingredients that require Cosmos mission stuff. Do you think anybody runs those? There is not nearly enough supply for the assets that are required to build any of these capital ships, especially not at scale. So I don't know if CCP thinks that, okay, we can find a way to build a jump freighter or 2 jump freighters with what's available on the market in JITA right now. and go, gosh, that's fine. But maybe somebody who happens to play the video game EVE Online in the main Reykjavik office might want to tell some of their fellow employees, their colleagues, that for years, capital producers have built ships at scale. That means more than one jump freighter or two jump freighter. They would build them in batches. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time in EVE Online where there were entire factory lines shitting out capital ships at a fair price that resulted in people using those capital ships in anger and not running for the hills like a piss pea the moment a battle report got north of 15 billion ISK. It is shameful, and I highly recommend that somebody over there talk to Suetonia when he turns up for his first day of work and ask them anything about how some of the basics of the video game works. The fact that I am still having to have meetings about this is shameful. In the Imperium, we are used to the entire galaxy being PAPIs and coming after us, right? It's happened, hell, every 5 to 10 years. And so we prepared for it. So we have whole stockpiles, as was proven during the year and a half of war we spent. But if you are not in the Imperium, and you wanted to, all these people, they're trying to, hey, buy a Prospector pack. Come play EVE Online. It's great. You can spend $25 and get started as an industrialist. And then once you level up towards the end game of being an industrialist, oh, you wanted to build a capital ship. Oh, well, you can't because nobody can. I don't think that they're going to try to sell a pack for that. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I'm afraid that what has happened here is you end up with a bunch of people who have no idea what they're doing in the control room of an exceedingly complicated system. The EVE economy is more complicated than any other in-game economy that has ever existed in any video game. And these guys are just pressing buttons and shit's breaking. And then, of course, what do? Well, obviously, it must be the player's fault. It must be that the players are wrong. These guys are right. The players complain too much. Oh, it's just the old vets. We'll get new people who will come over here and don't know that you can't build more than one jump freighter at a time. The thing that's so shocking to me about this is the fact that there is not a constant drive in the CCB offices to get this stuff unbroken, because they have a situation where the in-game ships of this video game, love them or hate them, right? Like if they deleted all super capitals tomorrow, I'd say great. But they're there, and you literally can't build more. You can't build 3 jump freighters in Jita. You can't build 3 rays off of what's available in Jita, right? There's a fundamental breakdown in the core game progression part of this game's economy, which is one of its main selling points. But Prospector pack instead. So yeah, there you go. All that right. And I'm going to do this every week. We're going to go back on
That's
schedule
fine.
Here every week until they get it unfucked before it fucks them. It's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic that I'm still having to talk about this.
I agree 100%. And that's the thing. We can't let up the pressure on them. We got to hit these guys on it. Now I have 2 more CCP things, and then we're done with that. And then we're going back to what we were talking about before, because we have breaking news. Responses from Constantine, the shrivel-dicked moron, who is still lying out his ass to his members. So first of all, the last thing, I just want to go over this real quick. We'll make it very fast. This is important just to note for you guys. The Rorqual conduit jump.
Dude,
you've been asking for this.
Rules.
It's coming.
Oh my God.
It's coming. It's finally happening. Rorquals will be able to jump like freighters will be able, like you can jump with Black Ops right now. You'll be able to do that soon. Second of all, Proteus, all you Proteus lovers out there, you got some fixes. They're making it a little bit easier for you. A little more drones. You're going to be more of a drone boat now. Congratulations to all you Proteus people. I hope you're excited. And then last thing, and then we'll save Plex for good for the very end of the show, because I want to talk about that after we get through talking about Constant Olympic. Revamped daily reward system. Okay. Thank you, CCP Fozzie. They are revamping the reward system. They're getting rid of the stupid BPCs that nobody uses. They're getting rid of the temporary skins. They're going to create specific skins for you. Look at these skins. They're pretty. I mean, they're kind of pretty skins that are going to be handing out as login rewards to everybody, which I'm pleased about, because this is freaking great. They're finally fixing that. They're not going to be doing like the 1 month and you get a skill injector. You're going to get random bits of skill points throughout the week as an alpha or as an omega. So it's not something where you have to wait a month to get your skills. You're going to get your points for free. You're going to get them over time. So I'm very, and then they have new boosters, brand new boosters that are frankly, the way that they're like discussed, they're called Halcyon boosters. They're super like OP kind of things, but they only last for like 2 hours. But it seems like they're going to be pretty cool. So I'm pleased with this. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you, Fozzie, for giving us skins that don't suck and that are permanent instead of random stuff that I already have most of the time that's only good for 30 days. So this is good. Now, our friend Constantine the Rice Krispie Dick decides he's going to start talking shit to us during the show.
So good. So good.
And I have to just laugh because he can't stop lying. This guy can't stop lying. Okay. Like I mean, seriously, I can't tell if this guy is like Pinocchio. I would use a real life reference, but I'm not going to because I'm not that kind of a person. But I'm telling you, it's unbelievable, this bullshit. First, the leadership of the Imperium has once again admitted its incompetence in a live stream today. I'm sure he doesn't sound as good as I do either. Brisc thought that the fight took place in Esoteria. No, I didn't, dumbass. We've been talking about Faith Abolus this entire stream. We are deployed in DTAC-P in Esoteria. That's where our deployment is. But TRO is in Faith Abolus and JTAC-T, where the fight was Wednesday and yesterday and today, where I was fighting. I didn't see your ass on grid. We all were there. It was in Faith Abolus. Hello. Sweaty Shines, who, unlike his colleagues, understands the PvP content in the game. Because I don't play, you dumbass motherfucker, I will put my kill board up against yours any day of the week. Just saying. Sweaty Shines decided not to name the reasons for the defeat in JT. Well, at least he's admitting he lost. And decided not to talk about cap and super cap superiority on their fort timer. Shines, would you like to say how many super caps we had ready to go yesterday if we wanted to use them? I had one.
Brisc, the Init Superfleet yesterday had, I think, 26 supers and 25 titans.
Wow.
Eat my ass.
50 supers and titans together. When you guys how many dreads did you have the other day? 90, 70, 90 something?
Can I just point out that Fire moved their super fleet and Fire moved more supers than Init had. So,
wait a minute. Fire has a super fleet? I had
whatever
no
hasn't
idea.
been RMT'd off, yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Just, you see the usual propaganda from the Imperium that they do all the time, and we are ready for it. The Imperium does not recognize the loss of 1 trillion ISK in the Faith Abolus War. Can you show us the numbers, tough guy? Because also, we haven't seen a trillion ISK worth of dead shit. I'm sorry.
There's amateur numbers. You got to get those numbers up. You got to work harder on that, baby. If you're scared of a trillion ISK, Constantine, if this is what you get, I call you a little bitch on the meta show and you flip out like this. Oh, don't worry, guys. There's like 2 more fucking paragraphs of this. You are weak and we are in your head. And I am loving it because there is some dumbass crazy shit. You have hidden in obscurity all these years in EVE Online because your alliance has degraded to the point that it's just yet another pile of pappies. But now we get to meet Constantine the Severe. He has a wonderful wizard hat joke. There's something involving cocaine.
Oh, well, this is
in there.
So we're moving on.
Get there.
So the rest of this paragraph here is like, I don't know, maybe this is a Russian thing. It's completely incomprehensible to me. Who does not know that the Imperium collected claims from its pilots and analog or whatever the fuck that means? I don't know. It's probably a bad translation, but it doesn't make any sense. But here's what he says. I think
he's claiming that we tax our pilot. I don't understand.
It's war bonds, I think.
Don't even try to get in this man's pea brain.
Oh, it's a war bond thing.
Okay. I guess that's what it sounds like.
We're trying to help you, Constantine. You suck at this. And we haven't actually had a Pispy that would dare stand up and actually throw some punches. So we're trying to encourage this, right? Like you are our entertainment right now. So we will try to insult. We will try to interpret your insults in good faith because I love this.
It's even better. Here we go. All right. So Mittani has been publicly insulting and humiliating the PAPI coalition and their leaders for over a year. He says something true. Holy shit.
They deserve it. If you are a PAPI leader, You deserve publicly being humiliated because you signed on to a war of extermination that you all clapped for, and with the entire galaxy you lost. So if you think we're going to stop talking shit about how much you suck, you got another thing coming. This is the meta show. This is what we do, baby.
Okay, so I've been told by one of my Russian colleagues that MMM was a huge public scandal pyramid scheme in Russia in the 90s. No one cares. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay?
Oh my God.
But anyway, back to this. Mittani threatened another pilot. What? Okay.
He doesn't even get the
He can't even get the reference right. Like, he doesn't
even get the wizard hat right. But it gets better because this is new, guys.
This is the best part. This man
awesome.
has long lost his mind, and his addiction to cocaine has long broken his life. Mittens, I had no idea you were a cokehead. Why have you been holding out on me?
Me neither. Wow. About white matter, I'm guessing this is cocaine. He repeatedly hinted at the time of his toads during the Great War. I will remind you that drugs are harmful to your health. You know, this is great. This is new. This is new. Like, this guy has never actually gotten his ass dragged into the galactic spotlight. And you know, you're
like
weak. I
just gotta say,
straws. I
gotta say, first of all, okay, this is the second time this week that I've had random schmucks saying that my friends and colleagues are cokeheads, and I've never seen any evidence of this, and it upsets me because I feel like, what do you guys think? I'm not into fun? But I'm not a drug user, so I guess I can't do that. But anyway, the fact that he would end the paragraph here saying, drugs are bad, okay, is the most hilarious thing I have ever fucking seen. This guy, like, we don't even have to make fun of him because he is turning himself into a parody of an idiot live in front of 1,000 people today. This is amazing. All right, so we keep going. Together with Wobo, we mentioned the Fortizar and JT, which brought us a fight for 1 trillion. Yes, the whole fight, but you guys lost a third of that. I mean, I don't get it. So the content brings fantastic emotions. Yes, if your fantastic emotions are, man, why does my leadership keep running away and lying to me? Then I think that definitely is true. They are bringing fantastic emotions. And then finally, Mittani is back in the game as if you went somewhere. I mean, besides moving, I don't know where the fuck he's getting that from.
Yeah.
Mr. V is back in the game. Mr. V's been here. I don't know what the hell you're talking about either. And all goon reserves are used against a war that no one wants. We haven't even started yet. And it hasn't fully deployed. Goons is not fully deployed. You're dealing with only the PvP guys that want to come here.
Baby. Six and squads.
If you want to turn this into a thing, like, we're not at war, guys. This is peacetime. This is a peacetime deployment. Sorry, we even scraped the barrel yet. If you guys want to pick this fight, and you want to keep coming at my boy Shines and Mittens and then acting like I don't know where we are. Sorry, dude.
Try not having your people run off the fucking field like bitches if you're all this mad. Also, I think you got me mixed up with another high-profile EVE Online player. I do engage in recreational legal substances, not cocaine. I have actually never, ever, I don't snort things. One of the most important lessons in EVE Online is you need to understand your enemy to beat them, which is, as you guys are seeing, as yet another reason why, even with all of the galaxy blued up together, Piss P didn't understand us, and that's another reason why they lost. But this motherfucker is, he doesn't even know, like, the idea that I have been gone. Like,
yes.
Half of one of your regions is getting glassed, dude. So here's the deal, Constantine the Severe. Why don't you severe your ass and fight us, or we'll just keep purging your space as much as we can until you do? Because I thought this was really stupid to make it personal with the initiative. You know, I'd have never cared about your pings because you're strategically meaningless, because you were just another PAPI afterthought, just like AOM was. And now consequences are coming, and that's fine, but I don't really give a crap about this. But this is fun. But I thought it was dumb of you to provoke the initiative, and now you're going to provoke me by getting my enthusiasms wrong. Everybody knows my enthusiasms, and they don't involve snorting things.
Right. Hello, shiny boy. he calls you out again in this. How do you feel right now? I want to know.
I think he's putting a lot of effort into these things.
Hey-o!
I don't know.
Yes! Oh my fucking God.
If you're going to lead an alliance, right? If you're going to lead anything, you need to be fucking honest with people. And this guy is going full PAPI, and he has just not been honest with anyone. So, like, I don't know.
Oh boy. Oh God, I love you, Dark Shines. That was. Whew,
oh my God. Anyway,
it's so,
all right.
so perfect. Hey, look. You're a little bitch, Constantine. So if you want to send any more of these pings, we will put them on the meta show and make fun of you as we devastate your space while we're making fun of you. It's really how we like to play EVE Online, is to hear the tears of your foes as they accuse you of doing too many lines and being away from the game or whatever.
Exactly. All right. Last thing, we're going to end the show with this because I think it's pretty important, and I was very pleased to see this. So, as you all know, the war in Ukraine has been going on for a while. They did Plex for Good. The Plex for Good campaign raised over $500,000 for relief efforts for the war in Ukraine. This is the largest amount of money ever raised by Plex for Good. You can see on the screen here, the most raised second to this was the typhoon in the Philippines in 2013 raised $190,000 for Plex for Good. Last year's COVID, 135, that was the second largest of all time. Before that, the brush fires in Australia in 2020. We did last year was the best year for Plex for Good until now. We raised over $235,000 in 2020. We raised double that for the war in Ukraine. I would like to say on behalf of all the INIT members who are engaged in that conflict, thank you. We are very pleased. I am pleased as that we as a community came together to make this happen. I know I donated. I know a lot of you donated. It makes me very happy to see that when the chips are down, regardless of what's going on, we as a community can come together, pull together, and work tirelessly for our fellow friends and colleagues who are put in harm's way because of what's going on over there. So thank you all who donated, and this is pretty awesome.
Indeed.
All right, gentlemen, we have reached the end of the show. I am going to flip back over here to our handy dandy little screen, and I'm going to do a slight soapbox. So here we go, slight soapbox. Camera angle change. I want to thank each and every one of you who comes out and watches the show every week. We were gone for 2 weeks. We know that we are part of your Saturday afternoons or Saturday evenings, depending on where you are from. Thank you for letting Mittens and letting Mittens move and letting me take a vacation. I appreciated it. And thank you guys for coming back. We had over 1,000 people watching the show today. As always, those numbers blow our minds. And we are pleased and proud to continue to be the most watched EVE stream in the community and the #1 EVE talk show. We're going to continue doing what we're doing. And you know what? I know there are some of you out there who hate watch this show, who consider us to be unwatchable because we call people like Constantine limp dicks when they act that way. You don't like it when we're mean to people, and you don't like it when we spin. And my response to you is, I don't care. Because the 1,000 people who are watching right now like it when we do that, and they enjoy it, and that's who we're putting the show on for. So, from all of us at Imperium News and all of us at the Meta Show, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. You are the best audience in EVE Online. You guys are the players that are the backbone of this game. You care enough to come here and make us the place that you want to be at every Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern Freedom Time, 2000 EVE. Now that we're back to daylight savings, unfortunately, in the United States. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Now, I also want to say thank you to Dark Shines for coming on today. We had a fleet. I was worried he wasn't going to be able to do it, but he was here. He made the best joke we've had since the last time Merkelchen was on the stream. And I am very proud that we got you on camera this time. So Shiny Boy, thank you so much. We appreciate having you here.
Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Mittens, do you have any final words before we get out of here?
Well, let's see. What would be the most appropriate response? We've been gone for 3 weeks. We're talking about people that hated us, but watching us anyway. Let's see. PAPI can eat my ass. Fire can eat my ass. Constantine can eat my entire ass. I look forward to reading more of your pings, and I also look forward to spreading them across the entire Imperium as we all join together in both mocking you and torching as many of your regions as we can get away with while your pathetic forces retreat as far and as fast as they can away from the Imperium's justice. There will be no mercy.
There you go.
But don't worry, it's just SIGs and squads. It's the GIF deployment. You got nothing to worry about. You got me dialed in. The Mittani is back, and he likes the white stuff. I don't even know. We'll see on the battlefield. That's it. I'm good.
Everybody, this has been the Meta Show for Saturday, April the 2nd, 2022. I'm Brisc Rubal, joined alongside the Mittani. Dark Shines is here. Ladies and gentlemen, you stay classy, New Eden.